Hey guys, I'm Keaton Walker and this is my home studio. I want to show you inside. All right, so this is the desk setup. The main thing here that I'm trying to achieve is seamless video production. So I want to be able to work here, but also film and literally only with the click of one button, be able to start recording in a studio that looks good, feels good, sounds good. And so I've worked on this setup for like 2 years now to make it as seamless as possible. And this is the setup that I've landed on that I love and that isn't overly complicated, but that really gets the job done. So everything is powered by the Mac Mini, hands down the best computer I've ever had on a desktop. It was $1,000, it didn't max anything out and it records perfectly. And the way that that connects to the camera is through something called the Camlink 4K. Now there's other things that do this, but this is the best one I've found, the most reliable one. And basically it makes your DSLR camera your webcam. And so you can select it as the video source that you want to use. So I use this on Zoom calls, I use this for recording, and literally any time that I'm looking at the camera from my desktop computer, it is my DSLR, which is a Canon 90D with the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter lens. Now with that setup, my webcam basically becomes this crisp, nice looking image, and I can record directly to the hard drive. So there's no need to actually take an SD card in and out of the camera, which is super nice and just saves, one step of every time that I'm recording. I also don't have to worry about memory storage because everything's just going onto the computer. And I've literally never had to delete anything to save space on this computer, even though I film tons and tons of stuff. So the next thing is, how do you get this to actually record with the click of one button? And that's where the Stream Deck comes in. I just bought the smallest one because I don't do a ton of like crazy fancy things, but there's ones of these you can get with like 36 buttons or something like that. And you can do like noises. When you push a button, you can push a button to pop up some sort of graphic on the screen, just like it sounds. It's built for streaming, but I don't really stream, I just record. And so all I need is this record button here. And then I also have just a normal like camera button. Then I have this one, which is picture in picture. So if I'm gonna be in the corner of the screen, I can hit that and it adjusts. And then this last one is just a screen recorder. So if I'm doing like a course video or I'm just recording my screen for some reason, that's what that does. And all of those just switch automatically. And I can also switch as I'm recording, which makes it easier for my editor because he doesn't have to put two pieces of video together if we don't need to. And one more thing that really makes this all work is the permanent battery that I have in my Canon 90D. I never have to worry about charging it. I never move it. I try not to touch it because I get it in the right position and then I just want to leave it there because sometimes I'll bump it and then it takes like 3 weeks to figure out how I want it back, which is no fun. So that's the video setup, but the next thing is audio. And that is all kind of centered around this very, in my opinion, unnecessarily expensive, but fancy looking microphone, the Shure SM7B. So it makes you look cool, makes you sound even better, but you need all of these other ancillary accessories to actually make it work. The first one is something that boosts the gain, whatever that means. Basically just means that you can hear the microphone a little bit better. And I decided to go with this Triton FET head booster. A lot of people use the Cloud Lifter. This one was like less than half the price. I think it looks a little bit better and it's just less annoying because the Cloud Lifter is like massive and you have to like tape it under your desk or something like that. So then this XLR cable plugs into the FET head and then that plugs into this Evo 4 audio interface. So again, most people, the most popular setup here is this Scarlett. I didn't like the look of it. Some people were saying it wasn't even that nice. So I looked into Evo and this one was a lot more minimalistic looking, which I liked. I didn't need a million settings on it. I literally just have one microphone. And so what this does is the XLR cable goes in here. This plugs into the computer so that it becomes an audio source for the computer. And then we've got two options for audio here because you can plug in two XLR cables. Again, I only use one and I can control here how loud or how quiet this microphone gets. And I love that I can see like a visual of how loud it is because sometimes if I've had to unplug my computer for something or reconnect the monitor, I'll have to unplug this and I'll forget that it's off. And so seeing the lights there is super nice. And again, it just looks good on the desk. So that's the main setup here. But the other really important thing is lighting. And, you know, a videographer might come in here and say the lighting needs a little bit more work, but I personally, again, just value as easy as possible. And so I literally just have this one light that I've attached directly to the desk with the pole that I got off Amazon. These are meant for monitors, but I was able to connect the light that I bought. Again, I think the light was like $150 and I just turned that on. It looks good softbox. You want that at like a 45-degree angle, kind of create some good lighting for you. But then I've also got the natural light from outside coming through the window. Also some of the light bouncing off this white wall, which fills in this side of my face so it doesn't look too dark over there. And the cool part about this setup as well is I've also used one of those monitor arms to mount the camera so that I don't have any tripod stuff going on the floor. My last setup was like that. I was always kicking the tripod, having to move it around. The light was also on a tripod and it was just a mess to try to figure everything out. And so getting that floor space clear is super good. Also expecting my first baby here in the next 2 weeks. And so, you know, having a toddler crawling around and like messing with tripods doesn't sound super fun. And so I'm excited about this setup. Originally, I was going to do a Varipole is what it's called. And it like mounts between the two walls, but apparently those can fall down. They're meant to just go from floor to ceiling and then you mount things on that. But again, it didn't really make sense because it still had to touch the floor. So the desk mount has been super nice. Speaking of the desk, this is a Fezzibo corner standing desk. I wasn't going to do a standing desk here originally because I do have the treadmill desk, which we'll cover in a little bit, but it's actually been super nice. And the cheapest corner desk I could find that fit with the vibe of what I wanted was actually a standing desk as well. So I was like, may as well. And it's been great because I can stand up in meetings instead of having to sit all the time, which I previously had to do. If I had to stand up, I had to turn my camera off because it was on a tripod that wasn't connected to the desk. So this setup really works for whatever I want to do. Highly recommend standing desks. There's a lot of time spent at a desk as someone who works online and at home. And so if you can get a standing desk, it does a lot for your health. Then next up on the desk is these two monitors. They're actually just two completely random monitors that I ordered at separate times from Amazon. I was thinking about getting one of those big ultra wides, but I actually do record a lot on my screen and just using one screen. And then I have notes on this other screen over here. And so it's nice to have two separate screens because the screen recording app knows exactly where to record and I don't have to worry about like the image looking stretched or whatever. So I ended up just staying with the two monitor setup. Doesn't really bother me to have a little bit of space between, but it's nice to be able to drag things over there, maybe have, you know, Slack open on one side if I'm doing something that's not super deep work, and then having whatever else I'm doing on the other screen. I've also really liked this monitor mount. It's from EVO. Check it out. I'll put a link below, but it's just been solid, feels very sturdy, and you can move the monitors up and down and it sticks really well. Lastly, we've got the keyboard and the mouse setup. This keyboard is literally like the oldest Mac keyboard. I think I used this as a child when I was like 11 on that original Mac that was like the dinosaur Mac, but we just happen to still have it around. And I love that it plugs in to the computer still. Most things are wireless today, and I just end up forgetting to charge it or something else happens with the connectivity. And so this has been great, like super reliable. It feels good. I like that the keys are a little bit more raised, not as raised as some of the other ones, but more raised than like the Magic Keyboard that Mac has nowadays. And I like that it's longer and it has the buttons here because I like doing the numbers. Lastly, this is the thing I probably get the most questions about, this mouse. This is just a standard Logitech trackball. And I grew up, both my parents just loved trackballs for some reason. Basically what you do is you just move this ball around and that moves the mouse on the computer instead of moving a mouse, which is nice because there's not a ton of room on this keyboard setup to like move a mouse around. I don't know about you, but I'm always end up like moving my mouse off the desk because I'm using it so much. And so this just keeps me in one spot. Now, the thing about this is it isn't the most ergonomic. And so when you put it down, your hand is here when really it should be here. So I actually had my nephew 3D print this stand. He has a 3D printer, he printed it, and this just fits on perfectly. So this goes on, and that allows a little bit more ergonomic setup where I can keep my hand like this. I get less wrist pain, less shoulder pain, which I shouldn't have any of at my age. But, you know, again, working at a desk, you really want to make sure that you're taking care of your health because it just goes downhill the more you work at a desk. And that's why I've put a lot of these things into place. And then lastly, I've got this keyboard tray here. This slides out, but it doesn't really make a ton of sense for it to be this far out for me because I'm already kind of far from the monitor. So I slide it all the way in and pull up as close as I can here so that I'm a good distance from the monitor. There's a lot of evidence that shows that having your hands lower down like this instead of typing up like this is a little bit better for your posture. Typically when I'm working, this is my filming setup because the camera's low enough, but if I'm working, I'll bump this up to the second setting, which makes the camera a little bit too high, but it puts my hands at the perfect spot. And then I'm also looking up a little bit of the monitors, which again is best ergonomically. So that's it for the desk. Now I want to show you around the rest of the room and the accessories that kind of really bring this room together and make it awesome looking behind me, but also just helpful for the rest of the room. Cool, so next up is the walking desk. I had this dream of having 2 setups because it doesn't really work to have a walking desk at your normal setup because you can't really fit the chair where you need it to go. And so originally I was thinking maybe I'll just have one desk and then I'll have the treadmill desk on the other side of that, but then that doesn't work as well because you need like a laptop in the middle of your workstation or you need to move it on and off. So I just figured this was the best way to do everything. I just need a dedicated walking desk station. So I found this cool thing on Amazon that had this kind of tiered setup. Again, trying to be as ergonomic as possible with the placement of the keyboard. This is just the Mac Magic keyboard that I talked about earlier, and the Apple Magic Mouse. I don't use this a ton. I would say maybe an hour a day. And so I'm not too worried about the ergonomics of the mouse, etc. And I'm usually just doing like mindless admin work here. And so the ergonomics aren't as much of a big deal, but it is nice to have the laptop a little bit more raised. This is, I think, the 2023 MacBook Pro. Just plugs into the wall here. And then this remote turns on the treadmill. Takes 3 seconds to turn on. And then you just have like a nice, easy walking pace. Sometimes I walk in my shoes. Sometimes I walk in my socks. Doesn't matter, I can do whatever I want, right? So I'll turn this on and then I'm able to do whatever work I need to do here, reviewing videos, talking to my team, just doing, again, like stuff that I can do while walking and be able to focus. I thought I would be able to focus a lot more. I saw videos of people like authors using this while they're writing their books. Absolutely not. I can't focus past like a 2nd or 3rd grade level of work here. And so don't do this if you do a lot of like deep work all day, every day, because it's probably not going to make that much of a difference because you won't be able to use it. But love this setup, love being able to use it an hour a day, and love that the door here as well can come up completely open, which is pretty cool considering like the size of this office. Cool, so that's the standing desk. Now let's talk about all of the accessories behind. There's still some like really cool productivity stuff that we haven't covered yet that has taken me a while to figure out, so keep watching. Cool, so the next thing here is this high level quote unquote neon sign that they sent me. I won a contest for this. People ask me all the time how I got it. I don't think you can buy it. I think you have to win one of the affiliate contests, but basically it has this little dimmer thing. And so on the very lowest setting, if I just barely turn it on, you can see that it looks pretty good on the camera. But if I go any higher than that, it just looks terrible. So I have to keep it super low. I considered putting this like behind me, but I wasn't sure I wanted the logo in every single video that I film. And so it's just kind of like a personal keepsake here because it's not really in the videos, but looks cool. And you know, if I'm working at night for some reason, I can turn it on and have some cool ambient lighting around. Next up is gonna be this super cool bookshelf. I saw it on Amazon. It had this cool like lighting thing behind it, but I didn't actually think that it came with the LED strip light on the back, but there's a strip of lights on the back. And so all I have to do is hit this and it turns on. That blue with the other light is the best setup for video, and so I tend to keep it on blue, but you can actually turn it on to like any color you want. It's nice because I can touch it with my foot, and it even has like a rainbow color where it switches between them. Obviously a little bit extra for videos. I probably wouldn't turn that on, but it's cool. I like that this looks unique. I hadn't seen it in the background of anybody else's video, so I enjoy that. I love that it's arched. And then I've kind of got some video stuff up here just as storage, pictures here. And then on this next one, I've just got the printer and pen drawer. Inside of each of these drawers, I've just got a bunch of extra camera equipment or hardware that I need for videos or other stuff. Maybe things I've used in the past that I'm not sure if I'll need again, but may as well just put them there for now. And then on this very bottom level, this is the secret to productivity that nobody will tell you, is I have this Dell computer. I thought I would buy a Dell computer and just try it out, and then I ended up hating it. But what's cool is I keep this on 24/7, and my team members that are outside of the country can all remote into this computer. And that makes it really nice for things like if they need to log into my Facebook account, if they need to buy something on my behalf, it doesn't trigger it as super suspicious because it's in the same room as I'm usually in. And so it frees up a lot of my time, and it's nice because I really only need one computer because people work different shifts, but multiple computers can remote into the same thing. And the software I use for that is called Real VNC. I think it's like $2 a month. So that's been really helpful, and my employees use it every single day. I've got a shredder back here, not super exciting, kind of hidden from the shot. And then I've got this scratch off map that I love. This is just all the places my wife and I have gone together. Right now, she's actually waiting for a visa to be able to travel outside of the country because she's from Ireland. It doesn't have a travel permit. And so all of our places are in the US, but pretty soon we're gonna be scratching off a lot of stuff outside, which we're excited about. But I just in general love maps. So this one's fun to have behind, and that little like journey of continuing to scratch stuff off is really fun. And then lastly, we have this lamp slash bookshelf. Love this thing. I think it looks cool. I like having books in the background because they're really important to me, but I also needed a light. And so this combined both of them. And then I have this fake plant, add some greenery, add some productivity juice to my day, but I don't have to worry about watering it all the time. That one I think I got from Ross Dress for Less, believe it or not. I also have this bamboo one that I do have to worry about watering. I think it looks cool on the desk, and I only have to water it like once a week. Sometimes I forget, but it looks cool, and it's helpful to add some depth to that shot on the desk as well, because I can have a little bit of stuff in the foreground, but then the rest of my shot is in the background. So then the last thing is this kind of couch corner. I debated whether to do this or not, but really it ended up being necessary because the floor is not carpeted in here, and that creates a lot of echo in the room. So I put a rug that covers basically the whole floor, and then this kind of helps bounce the sound around as well. Like a nice soft thing where I'm speaking directly at it helps with the sound and the echo. I also added these hex things up on the wall. I think they look cool. I was gonna go like more fancy. There's these really fancy felt design things that you can do, but I just did this as a temporary solution. They were like 10 bucks, and I actually like the look better. So enjoy the way that looks. The idea is to maybe swing this camera around, turn it, and do some videos from this angle with the corner there. I think it could look cool, but again, I'm kind of lazy and I don't like moving that camera. And a lot of times I'm screen sharing when I'm recording, so maybe I will at some point. The other solution may be to just add a second camera that films from this angle, and then every week I can do a video from the desk setup, and I can also do a video from the couch setup to mix things up a little bit. The other dream is to end up using this for something like reading or journaling or something like that, but I just end up using my bigger couch. It's a lot more comfortable. Really, it's just a sound design thing, and it looks cool. It's also nice to be able to store things. I've just got like extra tripods and other stuff down here. So if you have any questions about the stuff that was in here, all the links are gonna be below in the description. You can also go to itskeaton.com/tools, and everything, including the software I use and all of that stuff, is just listed on one page. So definitely check that out. Hopefully this gave you some ideas. Again, this has just been a collection of a lot of different things that I've seen on different YouTube videos, different setups, talking to people who know what they're talking about when it comes to lighting and sound design and all that type of thing. So this isn't built overnight, but I hope that you guys can build an awesome studio, makes you more productive, better looking on camera, and helps you grow your brand. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.